I made an Elementor add-on, a plugin with 7 features that make the editor experience a little bit nicer. It is completely free. It's available to download for anyone. It's called Rino's Toolkit for Elementor, and it's my first ever plugin release. Yeah, this is a proud moment for me because, as some of you know, I'm originally a UX designer. That's what I studied. So I'm kind of like a product guy. I've been advising WordPress companies over the years, even Elementor themselves sometimes. And I've always wanted to make my own plugins, wanted to do something. So when vibe coding became a thing, I started experimenting with stuff. And one of the web apps that I made is called Website Toolkit. It lets you generate a color palette and typography scaling. And I'm now turning this into a framework generator, and I've had a lot of positive responses on that. And so I had motivation to do more. So I thought, why not try to create my own plugin, even though I'm already also creating websites with AI now, and I'm even using bricks now. But most of my websites right now are still in Elementor. So I wanted to make that experience a little bit nicer, especially for the Atomic V4 editor. And I know it's not fully done yet, but I also don't want to go back to the V3 widgets, because if you've ever worked with classes, then you just don't want to go back. But I didn't even know if it was possible to create my own plugin, but I had trust in my own UX skills. And I saw a lot of developers on X saying that now these days AI is good enough, but I still wasn't completely sure yet. So I started this out as an experiment in one of my live streams. And at the end of the live stream, I actually had some working features. And since then I have expanded that and let a developer check it. So yeah, let's go into it. What you can do is you can go to Rino's Toolkit. You can just try to find it in the WordPress repo. There it is, less than 10 installs, no reviews yet. Once you've done that, you get this option here on the left. And then you can toggle features on. So if you don't like a certain feature, you can just turn it off. There's also one big toggle to turn all of them on, but you can also individually do it. So the first thing is related to the Atomic editor, actually all of these 4 features, and that's display full class names. So the thing is that if you don't have this feature and you're working with classes and your class names are long, then you cannot see the full name from here. You have to hover and then see it. But I don't always want to hover. I just want to see the class names in here. And so that's what this toggle does. If you turn it on, you can just see the full class names. No dots anymore. The second one is the class highlighter. So one of the challenges if you're working with classes is that you forgot where you put all of your classes. And Elementor does have a feature that allows you to see where your classes are used, but this is only on the page, and then there's no way to see where on the page you have used that class. So let's go, for example, into this heading. This has a very long class name, but that's just for the demo. You can just go in here and then it says Rino's Toolkit. You can click on highlight on page and then it will give a purple outline on everywhere where you have used that class, and then you can just turn it off again. So let's also try it with the social media icon. There you can see it highlights it everywhere. So super easy to find where you have added those classes. The next one is Tab Navigator. That is just simply these 2 options over here. This is not default. So when I was working in the Atomic editor, I often have to find stuff within all of these tabs, but I don't know everything that's in all of the tabs already. And I also don't want to click and scroll all the time. So now there's just a search field. For example, you can just search for shadow, and then the tabs that actually have shadow inside of them will show up. Or you can search for pad and then the padding will show up. Super easy, right? And then there's also this tab to open all of them and close all of them in one click. So this just makes the style tab a little bit easier to navigate. Then bigger indicator dots. So when you have applied things to a class, Elementor shows you these dots, which are really nice because then you know where you have added stuff. This is the case inside of classes, but also inside of local. So if you would do something here, it would also show that here. But these dots are a little bit small, so I just added a feature to make them twice the size. Again, all optional, you don't have to use this, but I find it a little bit easier. Then there are a few features which worked in the whole editor, so also for V3 widgets. First is the widget path breadcrumbs. I actually saw this feature inside of Gutenberg. So now if you click on any widget, maybe you already saw it because it's been on this whole recording, here at the bottom, you now see the breadcrumbs. So this one is inside of another flexbox, then inside of a grid, then the flexbox, and then the div block. So now with this feature, you don't even have to have the navigator on. That's sometimes in the way. It's just really small here in the bottom. You can just go to one level higher. For example, we're in here, paragraph. We can also go back. And if you click on another widget, then it will go to that widget. So it just stays on here at the bottom all the time for easy navigation to go one level up, one level down. This is especially useful if you have two containers that are overlapping, because then you cannot really click here in the editor. So then you had to open the structure panel anyways and find it here. But yeah, this just makes it a little bit easier. So yeah, breadcrumbs in Elementor. Now it's here. Really cool, right? Then the next one is zoom out canvas. So once you're editing a page over here, you cannot always see a lot, right? Depending on your screen. But now with this feature, you can just zoom out and you can see more. You can even go to 50% or to 25 and you can see the full page. It's kind of like zooming out as you can do in Figma, but then you can do it in Elementor and you can still do everything. It just, at some point, it just becomes a little bit too small to work in. But hey, you can use it if you want and then just click through it to see a little bit more. The only problem with this feature is that if you have used VH on a section, so let's for example add a height here, so 50 VH, 50% of the screen, then if you zoom out, it will stay 50 VH because it's 50 VH of what you see on your screen, if that makes sense. So this feature works if you work with padding, but for most of your websites, you should use padding instead of putting a specific height on the background containers anyways. But that's just one limitation of this zooming feature. I have not found a way to fix that, but yeah, I just want to be honest about that. And then the last one, quick action buttons. You probably already saw it, but now in all elements, V3 and V4, you have these quick action buttons that allow you to move one up, move one down, make a duplicate, delete. Just makes it a little bit easier. In V3, we already had an option to turn on these handles from the settings, but in V4 there was not an option like that yet. So, you know, I just built it myself and it works. So yeah, pretty cool, right? It's called Rino's Toolkit for Elementor. And if you've seen my original live stream, then you know that the original name for this plugin was actually called Swiss Knife for Elementor. You can see my original Figma files here where I was trying to do stuff. And I even made a little icon here that looks like a Swiss knife together with the Elementor logo. But then I submitted this to the WordPress repo and it got rejected because apparently there's a brand name in here. Can you guess? It's not Elementor, it's actually Swiss Knife. I mean, Elementor is of course also a brand name, but if you're not acting as if you're Elementor, then you can just submit things. So Swiss Knife for Elementor is fine, but apparently Swiss Knife is a brand from a company that actually has my name in it. It doesn't get any more crazy. So this is not a victory for Rino. This is not good. But then I actually posted about this on YouTube. And then some of you guys actually said this is a blessing. Your name is a mark of quality. I trust your name and brand name more. So thank you for that, for the trust. So I decided to just get on with it. And so now it's live under my name. So maybe in the future I can release more plugins with my own name, which is actually pretty cool. I'm happy that I did it now. And one more thing that I want to say is that none of these features influence the front end of the website. So even if you turn off the plugin, it will not influence your website. This is only some tools that are added inside of your editor. Again, you can decide which one you like, which one you don't like. It cannot really crash your website because it doesn't actually do anything on the front end of the website. And I let the best developer that I know go through the code in order to check everything. It passed the WordPress repo test. I build it according to WordPress best practices, so I'm confident that this is safe to use. But apart from this story, I think it's just pretty cool that we are in a time now where designers can code. I mean, we're not coding manually, but in a way, we're also developers. Many traditional developers don't like it when no-coders say they're also developers, but a no-code developer is also a developer. We were already developing WordPress websites for many years, and now we can also make our own plugins. And of course, for this public plugin, I made sure that a developer checked it because it's part of my reputation. But you can literally spin up a website with something like local WP and then just connect Claude to the actual folder or codex and then just develop a plugin for yourself. Then you have a little zip, you can upload that to all of your websites if you also have ideas. It's just really cool. So I would advise you to also start to do something, and of course you can download my plugin if you like it. If you have ideas on how to make it better, feature request, and please let me know in the comments. There's no sign up, there's no email, there's no upsell. I'm not planning to make this into a business, but I also want to be straight to you about the maintenance. I will keep this working as long as I'm using Elementor myself. But like I said, there is not really a risk for your website to break because it's just some conveniences in the editor. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say for this first release of Rino's Toolkit for Elementor. I hope you like it too. Download it on one of your websites, play around with it. Let me know what you think, and then hopefully I will see you in one of my next videos.